The church was not old, but it had the look of age, its stonework weathered not by time, but by reverence. It stood on the outskirts of Barrow-on-the-Sea, where the fog from the swamp rolled in and never quite rolled out. There was no history of miracles in that place, no sightings of the Virgin, no bleeding icons or sudden stigmata, just the damp walls and the smell of mildew, the hollow bell tolling out its lonely hours. And yet they came, not many, not yet, but a trickle of pilgrims arriving with hunched backs and failing eyes, aching joints and broken hearts. They would sit quietly in the pews for hours, some weeping, some praying, and others only staring up at the mural behind the altar. A simple painting of a robed figure whose face had long since faded into a blur of ochre and mold. They said the figure changed over time, that it began to weep, that the eyes, though featureless, would follow you, that those who came with pain would leave without it. Sister Elaine did not believe in miracles. She believed in scripture and service, in poverty and silence. The miracles she understood were ones of perseverance, a widow learning to smile again, a child returning to school after grief. She had joined the church to serve the forgotten, not to be drawn into spectacle. So, when an old man rose from his wheelchair and walked down the aisle unaided, when a mother came back week after week with her once mute son now singing hymns from memory, Elaine did not rejoice. She grew uneasy, and then the floor caved in. It happened during matins as the early morning light filtered dimly through the stained glass. A groaning crack like thunder rolled through the chapel, and the tiles before the altar gave way, collapsing inward in a slow, grinding yawn. Dust choked the air. Screams rose. No one was hurt, but the church would be closed for weeks. Sister Elaine remained behind after the others had left. She stood on the edge of the hole and peered into the earth. What she saw was not ruin, not pipes or stone or the bones of old saints. She saw a staircase. It wound downward, impossibly old, the walls slick with moss and condensation. The air smelled of wet leaves, old wood, and something else, not rot, but growth, something green and patient and waiting. She descended, a single candle flickering in her hand. The stairs gave way to a long corridor, narrow and hewn of black stone. Vines hung like curtains, veining the walls with deep red blossoms that pulsed faintly, as though breathing. The silence here was thick and soft, as if the world above no longer existed. At the end of the corridor there was a door, a wooden one, smooth and curved, like the ribs of a great beast. Her hand trembled as she touched the handle, but it opened easily without sound. Inside was a chamber, and in the center, a creature. It was large, coiled like a serpent, but covered in slick feathers that shimmered with oil-sheen iridescence. Dozens of eyes blinked open along its length, each one a different color, each one watching her with mild, intelligent curiosity. At its center, what might have been a face, there was a mouth that did not move, but she heard it speak. "I did not expect you." The voice was within her mind, gentle and warm, like being spoken to through a dream. Elaine gripped her rosary. "What are you?" "A gift, a mercy, a mirror." She felt its gaze, all of its gazes, settle on her. The warmth of the chamber shifted to unease. "I serve God," she said. "As do I," the creature replied. Its mouth never moved. The petals of its feathered body rustled faintly, like pages turning. "They come to me in pain. I offer them clarity. I remove the weight. I open their eyes. She stepped backward. You mean healing? Healing is a word for it. She shook her head. You take something. Number I give. The candle flickered. In the dark of the chamber, she saw movement behind her eyelids. Not visions, suggestions, dreams left by someone else. Faces not her own, streets she'd never walked. You place something in them, she whispered. Perspective. Elaine clenched her hands. Do they know? The creature paused. One eye closed slowly, like a curtain drawing. Does the seed know why it grows toward the sun? She fled. She told no one. The church was repaired, the pilgrims returned, and still they came, in greater numbers now. Word had spread, quietly, reverently, as though a saint had chosen Barrow on the sea for its humility. Sister Elaine watched them arrive. She watched them kneel. She watched them leave, smiling and altered, their gazes more still, their thoughts less sharp. One night, she returned to the chamber. The creature greeted her without words. I have not changed, she said. You will. She stared at it. You claim to serve God. Are you an angel? The eyes blinked in no discernible pattern. Does it matter? It coiled slightly closer. I do what God would do. I spread, I multiply, I fill the hearts of the faithful with peace. You could destroy them. Could I? It did not sound threatening. It sounded curious, as if she were the one holding the knife. Elaine felt her heart tremble. I will keep your secret for now. She turned to leave, but paused at the door. If what you do brings peace, is it wrong? The creature did not answer. Its silence was heavy with benevolence or warning. The changes were slow at first. More visitors, more followers. The congregation grew serene, still, watchful. Sermons were met with eerie unanimity. Disagreements ceased. Smiles became permanent fixtures. And one day, without warning, they stopped praying. Not out loud, not in words, but each bowed their heads in perfect unison. And something moved behind their eyes. For a second, Sister Elaine watched from the back pew, her breath shallow, her pulse a war drum. Despite her own wishes, she felt her head bow down with the rest of them. She knew then that the creature had not lied. It had spread, and in her eye, or perhaps behind it, she saw the creature's vision of the world. She saw its perspective. It was not a pearly kingdom, but something that throbbed like a wound dressed in light. Its peace was not the absence of violence, but the quiet after a scream, when all things have accepted their undoing. Through all of them, its will would be done, on earth as it is in heaven.